Chosen one, listen closely. You've been walking through a season that felt endless, a waiting that pierced deeper than pain itself. You've prayed, fasted, believed, and yet the silence lingered. You questioned whether heaven still remembered your name. Every day felt like another echo of not yet. But today, God sent a word for you, one that will break through that silence and awaken the strength that was forged in your waiting. The wait did not destroy you, it built you. Even when you thought you were breaking, heaven was building. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door was not rejection. It was redirection toward divine purpose. You've cried tears that no one saw. You've carried burdens you never spoke about. And though it looked like you were forgotten, God whispers, you were never overlooked. You were being prepared. There are seasons when the blessing must wait until the vessel is ready. And you, beloved, are that vessel. The wait was not wasted. It was working something eternal inside you. Soon the very thing you thought you lost will come back stronger. The people who doubted you will witness your resurrection. And the version of you that emerges from this waiting will not be fragile. It will be fortified by faith, humility, and divine endurance. The pain you felt in this waiting was not punishment. It was proof that something greater was being formed. Like gold in the fire, you were being refined. Like a seed underground, you were breaking so that new life could burst forth. So don't despise the wait, chosen one. Don't curse the quiet. The delay was not God's denial, it was His design. Because now heaven is shifting. The weight you've carried is about to become the strength you stand on. The tears that watered the soil of your obedience are about to produce a harvest beyond imagination. Stay close, because in this message you will understand why God let the weight break you and how He is now building you stronger than ever before. You see, the breaking was never random. The waiting was never wasted. Heaven was shaping something sacred within you, something that could not be rushed. In silence, God spoke to your spirit in ways words could never capture. When you thought He was distant, He was closer than your breath. When you felt abandoned, He was rebuilding the foundation beneath your feet. There are moments in every divine story where heaven hides the next chapter, not to torment, but to transform. Because if you saw everything too soon, you would have stepped into it half-formed, half-ready, half-healed. But God loves you too much to let you carry blessings on weak foundations. So He allowed the waiting to test what your words once claimed: faith, patience, surrender. He watched as others rushed ahead while you were told to be still. He saw your tears, your quiet obedience, the way you kept showing up when no one applauded. And in that stillness, a different kind of strength began to grow. Not loud, not visible, but unshakable. The kind of strength that can hold the weight of destiny. This is how heaven works. Before God elevates, He establishes. Before He opens doors, He strengthens the soul that will walk through them. Every unseen moment, every prayer that seemed unanswered was a brick in the foundation of your new beginning. Heaven was preparing a structure that would not collapse when storms come. Because what is coming will not be small. What God is building in you will not be temporary. That's why it took time. That's why the wait hurt. That's why it felt like the silence would never end. But you were not forgotten in the waiting. You were being fortified for what's next. The same hands that broke you open are the hands that now begin to build. God says, I let you bend, so you would learn you cannot break in me. You are now standing on sacred ground, the threshold between what was and what will be. The winds of change are shifting around you, and heaven is preparing to reveal why it took so long. Because what's about to be unveiled will not just restore what was lost, it will redefine who you are. You will not return to the old version of yourself. You will rise as something new, wiser, quieter, but infinitely stronger. The breaking was the birthplace of your becoming. And as this message unfolds, you'll understand that the waiting was not your wilderness, it was your workshop. God wasn't withholding your promise. He was perfecting his vessel. And now, the moment the heavens have been preparing for quietly unfolds. In the stillness where your faith was tested, a divine exchange has begun. What was once taken from you, what you thought was lost in the waiting God, is now returning, but in multiplied form. The spiritual realm has shifted. The delay that once felt like chains is now breaking, and the winds of divine acceleration are beginning to move. For a long time, you walked with questions that had no answers. You wondered why the promises spoken over your life seemed trapped behind invisible walls. You asked God, did I hear you wrong? Did I miss the timing? Did I fail somehow? But heaven never retracted the promise. The prophecy was not canceled. It was maturing. The roots were growing in silence before the fruit could appear. Now the season of unveiling begins. The very things that were hidden, the doors that refused to open, the opportunities that stayed out of reach, they were never lost. They were waiting for you to be ready to carry them. The Spirit of God says, "You have endured the delay with faith, and now I will reward your endurance with revelation." What was concealed is about to be revealed. The time of strengthening has passed. The time of building begins. You may begin to feel the shift subtly at first, a sense of peace, where anxiety once lived a divine pull toward new directions, a sudden release of things that once held you down. Do not fear this change. It is not loss, it is transition. The prophecy unfolds like dawn after a long night. The first light is gentle, almost unnoticed, but then it grows steady and unstoppable until it fills the sky. That's what's happening to you now. The light of purpose is breaking through, and nothing, no delay, no betrayal, no failure can put it out again. God is bringing forth a new identity from the ashes of waiting. The person you became in the dark is not who you were before. You are wiser, stronger, quieter, and far more dangerous to the enemy's plans. The prophecy over your life declares that the wait was not punishment, it was permission. Permission for God to tear down every false foundation built by pain, fear, or pride, and to rebuild you with eternal strength. You may start to notice divine alignment, people entering your life by purpose, not coincidence. Paths opening that once seemed impossible. Old burdens lifting without explanation. These are the first signs of fulfillment, heaven's way, of saying incoming, saying the construction is complete. You are ready. This is not just about receiving blessings, it's about becoming a blessing. You have been through the fire so you could carry the flame. You endured loss so you could embody restoration. Soon you will see the reason for every closed door. You will realize that what looked like delay was God protecting you from premature exposure from people and places that could not hold the weight of your destiny. And when you rise, those who once pitied you will not recognize the strength that now stands before them. You will not speak of the waiting with bitterness, but with gratitude. Because you'll know the wait didn't just prepare you for the blessing, it became the blessing. This is the hour where heaven reveals its hidden work in you. The walls of silence are falling. The river that was dammed by divine timing is now flowing freely. What you lost in the delay, God is returning with interest. You are entering the fulfillment of what was once only whispered in the dark. The prophecy is no longer just a promise, it's a living manifestation. Heaven is announcing, it is time. When God allows a long wait, it's never because He's forgotten. It's because something deeper is being written into your spirit, something eternal that can't be formed in comfort. The waiting season, though, silent on the outside, is one of heaven's loudest classrooms. You see, the delay was never about the thing you were waiting for. It was about the you that was being formed while you waited. In the stillness, your identity was being rebuilt. In the absence of movement, your roots were growing deeper. God was teaching you to trust His hand, even when you couldn't trace His plan. There is a sacred rhythm in divine timing, a cycle that breaks down before it builds up. Before every resurrection, there is always a burial. Before light bursts forth, darkness must do its refining work. The weight felt like breaking, but breaking is heaven's method of expansion. A seed cannot grow until it's buried and split open. Oil cannot be released until the olive is crushed. Gold cannot be purified until it passes through fire. So when everything around you seemed to collapse, heaven wasn't punishing you, it was processing you. God was enlarging your spirit to hold greater glory. This is why the silence felt unbearable, because silence exposes what noise hides. When distractions fall away, when validation disappears, you meet the truth of your own faith. You discover whether you truly trust Him, not because of what He gives, but because of who He is. That's the transformation hidden within every waiting season. God shifts you from needing outcomes to trusting His nature. From seeking answers to resting in His presence. From striving for results to standing in surrender. The longer the wait, the greater the weight of what's coming. Every pause has purpose. Every delay carries direction. And when you think back on the moments that nearly broke you, you'll realize they were holy. The loneliness taught you discernment. The rejections purified your motives. The disappointments shaped your endurance. The closed doors protected your destiny. It wasn't random suffering, it was sacred sculpting. You weren't being delayed, you were being designed. Heaven operates in patterns. Look at creation. Before the dawn, darkness covers the land. Before spring, the earth seems lifeless under winter's weight. Before a butterfly emerges, the caterpillar dissolves in stillness. In every divine story, transformation hides behind time. That's the mystery of your waiting. You thought nothing was happening, but the Creator was rewriting your capacity. He was stretching you to hold more peace, more vision, more authority, more love. Every unanswered prayer became a well of deeper faith. Every not yet became an invitation to mature. Every ending made room for an eternal beginning. So when you wonder why God took so long, understand this: He wasn't building what you asked for. He was building what could sustain it. There's a reason some promises are delayed, because they're meant to last forever. God doesn't build temporary things. He builds legacies. He builds callings. He builds foundations that hell itself cannot shake. And that's what He was doing in you. When you come out of this season, you'll no longer measure faith by outcomes, but by alignment. You'll realize that what you once called waiting was actually training. What you thought was silence was communication on a higher frequency. Heaven wasn't ignoring you. It was speaking in whispers your spirit had to grow to hear. And now you've reached that point. The breaking has birthed wisdom. The delay has produced discernment. The silence has unlocked sight. Your vision is clearer. Your spirit is stronger. Your heart is steadier. This is the depth of divine waiting. It doesn't just change your life. It transforms your nature. You don't come out the same. You come out refined, radiant, and rooted. And when God finally releases the promise, you'll carry it with reverence, not entitlement. You'll walk with humility, not haste. Because you'll understand that the true blessing was never the thing, it was the becoming. You didn't just survive the wait. You became the vessel that could carry heaven's design. You'll begin to notice it, not always in dramatic ways, but in quiet confirmations that only your spirit can recognize. These are not coincidences. They are divine signals that heaven is moving. When God begins to fulfill what he promised, the atmosphere around you starts to shift first. The change always starts in the unseen. You may sense a restlessness, an inner stirring, a sudden awareness that the old no longer fits. Don't dismiss it. That's your spirit recognizing transition. Here are some of the signs you may begin to experience. 1. The weight lifts quietly. The heaviness that once felt permanent begins to lose its grip. You wake up one morning and realize the sorrow has thinned. The ache is softer. You're not sure when it happened, but peace returned like a sunrise after a storm. That peace is not random. It's the first sign of divine restoration. 2. Unusual clarity. In seasons of waiting, confusion often clouds vision. But as heaven begins to move, you'll start seeing patterns that once made no sense. Decisions become clear. What once drained you will no longer attract you. Old cycles lose their power. This clarity is proof that the fog is lifting and purpose is near. 3. Divine replacements. Sometimes God will remove people, plans, or positions before new ones arrive. Don't panic when old connections fade suddenly. Every subtraction in this season is making space for alignment. New relationships, purpose-driven, spirit-led, will begin to enter, naturally carrying peace and familiarity that feel like home to your soul. 4. Doors opening without force. You'll notice opportunities arriving with ease. You won't have to chase or beg. They'll align as if drawn to you. This is what happens when divine timing meets divine readiness. What was once locked will now swing open, not because of striving, but because you've become the person prepared to walk through. 5. Echoes of confirmation. Messages, scriptures, or phrases will repeat themselves in unusual places, a video, a sermon, a stranger's words. It's as if the same sentence keeps finding you. That's not coincidence. It's confirmation. Heaven repeats what your heart must not miss. 6. A calm before movement. Right before major breakthrough, you'll feel stillness. It may seem like nothing is happening, but that calm is the final still point before acceleration. Don't misinterpret the quiet. It's the spirit organizing your next steps behind the scenes. And sometimes the confirmation comes not in what changes around you, but in what awakens within you, a renewed faith, a strange sense of readiness, a peace that doesn't make sense in the natural. All of these are heaven's gentle ways of saying, it's beginning. You are stepping into the fulfillment of what was promised. Don't look for thunder. Listen for whispers. The same God who spoke in silence during your waiting now speaks through subtle signs of release. And as these confirmations unfold, your only task is to remain open, not to control, but to recognize. Because recognition is the language of revelation. When you notice what heaven is doing, you align with its movement. Before the promise manifests fully, the path may tighten once more. This is where many give up right before the breakthrough. Not because God wants to test your strength again, but because He's sealing what was built in you during the waiting. Every transformation faces resistance before revelation. When light begins to rise, shadows react. When your purpose awakens, opposition takes notice. So if you find yourself facing sudden confusion, unexpected conflict, or waves of exhaustion, don't panic. These are not signs of failure. They're signals that you're crossing into fulfillment. The closer you get to your next level, the more the old realm tries to pull you back. Challenge 1. The pressure returns. You may feel the same emotions that marked your old season: fear, anxiety, self-doubt, but this time they're not here to stay. They're surfacing so you can see that they no longer control you. The pressure now reveals progress. Challenge 2. The voices of distraction. As you begin to rise, distractions will come disguised as opportunities. Some invitations will look golden but carry no peace. Others will demand your time but offer no fruit. Remember, discernment, not busyness, is your weapon. If it costs your peace, it's not from God. Challenge 3. The echo of isolation. Even as things begin to shift, you may still feel alone for a while. That's not rejection, it's protection. Before God introduces the next circle, He clears the stage. He removes noise so you can hear instructions clearly. Challenge 4. The temptation to rush. After a long wait, the urge to act quickly can be strong. But acceleration without alignment leads to collapse. Move only when you sense peace, not pressure. What's divinely appointed will not require striving. It will flow. Challenge 5. The spiritual fatigue. Sometimes the soul grows weary after long endurance. You may feel empty, even numb. Don't interpret that fatigue as failure. It's simply your spirit adjusting to new frequencies. Rest becomes holy in this phase. Let yourself recharge. Through these challenges, remember you are not regressing. You are refining. The same storms that once broke you no longer hold that power. They are merely confirming that your foundation is secure. Every great destiny faces a final test of authenticity, a moment where you must decide if you truly trust the one who called you. When the noise rises, when confusion stirs, when temptation whispers take control, that is your cue to stand still. Because the enemy cannot delay what's already appointed. He can only distract you from recognizing it. So when the road narrows again, whisper this truth to your spirit. I've been here before, but I'm not the same person who waited last time. You've already been through fire and came out gold. The next wave isn't meant to break you. It's meant to reveal that you cannot be broken. Hold your peace. Keep your posture. The shaking is not punishment. It's proof the foundation is ready for what's being built next. Now that heaven has begun to shift in your favor, there are divine instructions, not rules, but revelations meant to guide your next steps. These are sacred alignments that will help you move with grace, not strain. When God rebuilds someone stronger, He does it through obedience. Not forced, fearful obedience, but the kind that flows from revelation. The wait taught you trust. Now trust becomes movement. 1. Guard your atmosphere. You've outgrown the noise of comparison, complaint, and negativity. Guard your peace like a treasure chest. What you entertain now will shape what you manifest next. Surround yourself with worship, truth, and voices that carry light. Protect your atmosphere because your atmosphere will protect your anointing. Every great move of God begins with quiet consecration. Pull away from what drains your focus. Silence is not isolation anymore. It's strategy. 2. Stay in alignment, not anxiety. You don't need to force what God has already written. Move when you sense peace, not panic. Divine timing is not delayed timing. It's designed timing. The doors you are meant to walk through will not require you to shrink to fit. God is calling you to rest in readiness. Stay alert, but not anxious. Prepare, but don't push. You are no longer chasing blessings. Blessings are being drawn to your obedience. 3. Speak life daily. Your words carry the creative power of heaven. Speak as one who knows that angels are listening. When fear whispers, respond with faith. When doubt rises, prophesy your future aloud. Declare life over your path, your mind, your destiny. Say it even when you don't feel it, because in the kingdom, words are seeds, not feelings. Every declaration waters the promise. 4. Release what no longer resonates. Not every connection, plan, or habit can travel with you into this next season. This is not rejection, it's refinement. Some things were vital for your growth, but not meant for your glory. Let them fall away gracefully. Ask the Spirit daily. Is this still serving my purpose? If peace leaves when something enters, that's your answer. 5. Keep your hands open. Control is the language of fear. Surrender is the language of faith. You don't have to understand everything to walk faithfully, you just have to remain open. God is rearranging things behind the scenes that will make sense later. If something exits, suddenly bless it. If something arrives unexpectedly, receive it. The less you cling, the more you allow heaven to move. 6. Return to intimacy. After long seasons of silence, many grow used to surviving instead of communing. But this is the time to return to intimacy, not duty, not performance, but relationship. Talk to God like a friend again. Sit in His presence without needing answers. Let worship become your resting place, not just your request place. The next level requires connection, not perfection. 7. Write the vision. The Spirit often whispers instruction in fleeting moments through dreams, through phrases, through sudden insight. Write it down. What you document in faith today will become direction tomorrow. Clarity is a form of stewardship. When heaven trusts you with revelation, honor it by recording it. 8. Walk humbly, carry fire. As favor increases, humility must deepen. You are stepping into visible seasons, but remember, visibility is not validation, it's responsibility. Let your character shine brighter than your platform. Carry the fire, but keep your heart soft. The same God who lifted you can sustain you if you stay yielded. In this stage, obedience becomes your offering. Every small yes is a key that unlocks more light. You won't need to figure everything out. You only need to respond faithfully to what's revealed next. The Spirit whispers now, "Do not rush the process I designed to bless you. Your part is obedience. Mine is outcome. So move in peace, not panic. Flow in faith, not fear. Walk in wisdom, not weariness. Because divine instruction is never about restriction, it's about preparation. You are being aligned with your destiny at the deepest level. Heaven has written this season as one of restoration, and every act of obedience is a brushstroke painting your promised future. Even now, as you step into this next chapter, heaven has surrounded you. The path ahead may feel unfamiliar, but it is not unguarded. You are walking beneath the covering of divine protection, the kind that can't be seen but can always be felt in moments of peace that make no sense. You are not walking alone. The same presence that guided you through your wilderness is walking with you into your promise. The fire that once refined you now becomes the light that leads you. Every step, every breath, every door you walk through is watched over by the one who never sleeps. You've survived too much to believe that grace will stop now. If the enemy couldn't destroy you in your weakest hour, he has no power over you in your rising. You are wrapped in divine armor, woven from faith, prayer, and promise. There are angels assigned to your name, guardians of purpose, who move unseen but powerfully. They go before you to prepare paths, and they stand behind you to seal victories. When you rest, they remain alert. When you speak life, they act on your words. Heaven has not just called you, it has commissioned you. God's protection doesn't always remove danger. Sometimes it redirects your steps before you ever see what could have harmed you. The missed call, the canceled meeting. The delayed travel, you may never realize it, but these are small mercies hiding you from unseen battles. In this season, you will begin to sense divine interruptions, moments when plans shift suddenly. Don't fight them. Flow with them. Each detour is divine defense. Every no that doesn't make sense is protection in disguise. You may not feel the shield, but you'll see its evidence: peace in chaos, safety in storms, provision in droughts. Even when things seem uncertain, remember, heaven doesn't panic. The Creator of all things has already calculated every obstacle and woven your deliverance into the design. And when fear tries to whisper, Let this truth settle in your heart. If God brought me through the breaking, He will carry me through the building. You have been marked by grace. Your name carries spiritual weight. Darkness recognizes you not because of who you were, but because of who covers you now. You walk with the authority of one who has survived the refining fire and carries divine light. So breathe deeply. Rest. You don't need to prove your worthiness to be protected. Love is your covering, faith is your shield, and obedience is your armor. Heaven's promise over you is not fragile. It cannot be undone by human hands or demonic plots. You are surrounded. You are sealed. You are safe. And as you move forward, the peace you carry will be your greatest protection. For peace is not the absence of storms, it is the assurance that God still commands the winds. And now, the moment that once felt distant begins to take shape before your eyes. The promise that lingered just beyond reach, the prayer that seemed unanswered, it's unfolding. Slowly at first, then suddenly. Transformation doesn't arrive with a shout. It enters quietly, clothed in peace. You may not even realize it's happening at first. The storm within you goes silent. The weight that pressed against your chest for years begins to dissolve. The ache you once carried becomes the very proof that healing has taken root. This is what divine fulfillment looks like, not the loudness of arrival, but the stillness of completion. You are no longer the one who begged for the promise. You have become the one who embodies it. The lessons you learned in silence now speak through your presence. Your faith no longer trembles at delay. It stands firm knowing delay is design. You can feel it, that shift in your spirit. You are lighter, but not fragile. Stronger, but not hardened. You've learned to love the process because now you see it was love all along. When you look back on the waiting, you won't curse it anymore. You'll bless it. Because it was there in the long stretch of time, in the hidden places, that God built the architecture of your soul. The loneliness became intimacy. The confusion became clarity. The breaking became birthing. You'll see that nothing was wasted. Even the pain was purposeful. The long nights that once felt empty were actually full of divine construction. Every silent moment was a conversation between your spirit and heaven. Now you walk in quiet authority. You speak and the atmosphere responds. You pray and peace settles immediately. You move and things align that once resisted. It's not because you're trying harder, it's because you've been transformed. The one who waited is not the same as the one who now receives. You've become a vessel that reflects endurance, grace, and unshakable trust. You no longer chase signs, you've become a sign. Your life itself is a testimony written by the hand of God. And the beauty is this: the fulfillment doesn't just bless you, it blesses everyone connected to you. What was born in private now overflows in public. The oil you carry will anoint others who are still in their waiting. Your words will heal because they were forged in pain. Your faith will inspire because it was refined in fire. The promise manifests through your posture, not your perfection. You've learned to rest and watch heaven perform what it promised. There's no more striving, no more begging, no more wondering if you're enough. You are. You always were. And now you know it. The weight broke you open not to destroy you, but to release the version of you that could finally receive what was yours all along. This is your becoming. This is your rising. And when you look in the mirror now, you'll see it the quiet glow of someone who has walked through fire and come out radiant. That's what divine rebuilding looks like, a reflection of grace, strength, and peace so deep it can only come from heaven itself. You made it through the waiting. You stood in the silence. You endured the refining. Now, you stand rebuilt stronger, wiser, and ready for the harvest that has finally arrived. Take a breath. You've reached the other side of what once felt impossible. The weight that broke you became the bridge that built you. Now you stand stronger, not because the pain vanished, but because you were remade within it. Heaven has completed a work in you that time could never erase. The cracks you once tried to hide now shine with divine light, proof that grace fills every gap the world could not. This is not the end of your story. It's the unveiling of who you truly are. You have learned to trust without evidence, to hope without clarity, to believe without guarantee. And that kind of faith is unstoppable. As you walk forward, carry these truths like sacred armor. You are no longer waiting for your season, you are the season. You are not chasing favor, favor follows you. You are not rebuilding from weakness, you are rising from wisdom. The world will feel different now. Colors will seem brighter. Time will feel slower. Even the air will feel lighter around you. That's what peace does. It transforms everything it touches. So speak these words aloud, slowly, intentionally, and let them sink into your spirit. Affirmation 1. What broke me has built me. I am stronger than I have ever been. Affirmation 2. My waiting was not wasted. It prepared me for divine purpose. Affirmation 3. I move forward with peace, protected and guided by heaven. Affirmation 4. The strength I carry now is not my own, it is God within me. Let these affirmations echo through every room you enter. Let them shift atmospheres, silence fear, and awaken joy. Now receive this blessing not from my voice, but from the one who sent this word to find you. Beloved, I have seen your tears, your faith, and your endurance. The wait was your preparation. The pain was your shaping, and now I declare your season of rebuilding begins. Walk in the strength I have placed within you. Every step you take will carry my favor. Every word you speak will carry my power, and every dream you pursue will align with my will. You are not who you were when this began. You are my refined vessel, unshakable and radiant. The weight broke you, but I have built you stronger. Amen. Let this word rest in your spirit like a seal, unmovable, unbreakable, and eternal. Your story continues, and from this point on, everything unfolds with grace.